So the first thing to do when you're given a piece of poetry is to read through the poem. Read it slowly and try to really digest what the poem is saying. Now, my rule of thumb is that you, number one, read the poem 3 times before panicking, and read the poem out loud at least 1 time. So we're going to start with that today. We're going to read Trench Duty by Siegfried Sassoon, and I'll read it out loud first. Shaken from sleep, and numbed and scarce awake, out in the trench with 3 hours' watch to take, I blunder through the splashing murk, and then hear the gruff muttering voices of the men, crouching in cabins candle-chinked with light. Hark! There's the big bombardment on our right, rumbling and bumping, and the dark's a glare of flickering horror in the sectors where we raid the Boche. Men waiting, stiff and chilled, or crawling on their bellies through the wire. What? Stretcher-bearers wanted? Someone killed? 5 minutes ago I heard a sniper fire. Why did he do it? Starlight overhead. Blank stars, I'm wide awake, and some chap's dead. So now that you've heard the poem once, I want you to take a couple minutes and read this silently. I'll read it silently to myself, and when I'm done, I'll give you a couple extra seconds. Couple more seconds. Okay, so now in this introductory process, in step 1, if you do find something that you recognize that you think is important, you can go ahead and notate that. Like if I see that awake and take rhyme, I can mark that. I can say then and men rhyme, light and right, glare and wear. Now chilled and wire don't rhyme. So this is something that I may figure it out now. I might just want to mark for myself that something's different there. So chilled and wire don't rhyme, killed and fire don't rhyme, overhead and dead do. So this is actually, we can see that these two rhyme and these two rhyme. So you can start to mark those things if you see them, or you can leave them alone. You don't have to mark them right now. I'm going to erase these because I just got a little bit into my lines. So you can start to mark those things, but we do need to read it one more time. So I'll go ahead and read Trench Duty by Siegfried Sassoon. Shaken from sleep and numbed and scarce awake, out in the trench with 3 hours' watch to take, I blunder through the splashing murk, and then hear the gruff muttering voices of the men, crouching in cabins candle-chinked with light. Hark! There's the big bombardment at our right, rumbling and bumping, and the dark's a glare of flickering horror in the sectors where we raid the Boche, men waiting stiff and chilled, or crawling on their bellies through the wire. What? Stretcher-bearers wanted? Someone killed? 5 minutes ago I heard a sniper fire. Why did he do it? Starlight overhead. Blank stars, I'm wide awake, and some chap's dead. Okay, so now some of the things that you'll notice about reading the poem out loud are that I didn't stop at the end of each line. I stopped when there was punctuation. So like we had a period here, so I stopped there, and a semicolon here, so I took a little pause. And that's the kind of thing that you're going to notice when you're reading, is how the lines are broken up. So now if you're still stumped, we can go over to number 2, and actually I'm going to change the color so we can see what we're doing here. So for number 2, we're going to underline all the verbs and action words in the poem. So if we come over here and we say shaken from sleep, shaken, we're going to underline that. and numbed and scarce awake, out in the trench with 3 hours watch to take. So you're taking to take watch. We'll get all of that. Oops. I'm a little messy with this guy. Okay, so watch to take is what we're doing. We're blunder through the splashing murk. So this isn't our main verb, but the murk is splashing. And then we hear the gruff muttering voices of the men. So the voices are muttering. That's what they're doing. Crouching in the cabins. Candle cheek with light. Hark. There's the big bombardment on our right. So, I mean, is the verb there, but we don't need to underline that. So, rumbling and bumping. And the dark's a glare of flickering horror. So, the horror is flickering in the sectors where we raid the Boche. Men waiting, stiff and chilled, or crawling on their bellies through the wire. What? Stretcher bearers wanted? Someone killed? 5 minutes ago, I heard a sniper fire. Why did he do it? So, again, do it. We won't underline that. Being verb. Starlight overhead. Blank stars. I'm wide awake and some chap's dead. So, yeah. I didn't underline the being verbs because they're not really important. The purpose of this, of number 2, is to try to figure out what the tone of the poem is. So, well, that's number 2 and number 3. Once we've done number 2, we're going to focus on number 3 and try to put these words together and see if we can figure out the tone of the poem. So we can go ahead and just put some notes over here for ourselves. Let's see. Some smaller ones, but I can't see those. Okay, so we're just going to put a couple of these words down. Some of the ones that kind of really give us a picture of what the poem could be about. So shaken, blunder, muttering, crouching, rumbling, bumping. Let's see, flickering, waiting, crawling. Now, I didn't put every single one, but I put the ones that kind of created the same feeling. So this is, if you're shaken, or shaking, blundering, muttering, crouching, rumbling, bumping, flickering, waiting, crawling, they kind of paint a picture of something that's anxiety ridden. Like this poem, we could say that this poem is an anxious poem. We could look at those verbs and come up with ideas about what the tone of the poem is. So what I want you to do at your seat is to take just a couple of minutes and, looking at those words, decide what you think the tone of the poem is. And you're going to hand this in at the end of the class. So I'll give you just a couple minutes. Okay, we just need one word, so if you've got one word down about the tone, you're good. We're going to go on to number 4. We're going to do number 4 in red. So you can keep these things separate. Number 4. Now, once you kind of understand the tone or the feeling of the poem, I would say maybe an anxious tone would describe this poem, then you can go in and start to pick out the things that make that that support your idea of what the tone is. So we'll start by looking at our